Hello.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As you know, my name's Rebecca Wilson. I always tell everybody I'm Rebecca from Liberty. So people at work, every time they hear that Liberty commercial, they always think of me. So I need to be closer. Is that good? Okay. Sharon asked me to speak this evening, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it, because I don't think you should ever miss an opportunity to share with other people how great God is. And He has surely been great to me in my life. I have so many stories I could tell you, and I've been praying on which one He would have me to share. And I've numbered down to 2, and I'm hoping I don't run out of time. But I just feel like God wants someone here to hear how He used me to learn how to forgive and love someone that I truly, for half of my life, could not stand. So just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 47 years old. I have 3 wonderful children. God has blessed me with them. One son, he's 31, so you can do the calculation there. I did have a baby when I was 18 days before my 16th birthday. And then God blessed me with Samantha, my middle child, and she does have the middle child syndrome. And then God blessed me with Amber, who's here with us tonight, and she is 20. Yeah, she's in the process of hopefully graduate from nursing school in December and plans to get married to Jordan. If anybody knows him, he also goes to church here. We are blessed to have them two to have a life together. And then I'm married to Gerald Wilson. We've been together for 25 years, been married for 23. I'm trying to count this up. And he's my best friend, my rock. He's a man of little words. He doesn't say much because he says I say it all. So, but I know God put us together. So I want to tell you a story about my mom and dad. I don't know if anybody here has ever dealt with anyone who is an alcoholic. But I come from a broken home with 2 parents that are alcoholics. My mom decided that she didn't want to be a mom any longer when I was 3 and my sister was 4. And while Daddy was at work, she put us on the side of the road at the stop sign where we lived, on the road that we lived on, and put a note on my sister that just said she couldn't be a mom. And she left. And she told my sister to stay there, and I always stay with my sister, so I stood there. And Daddy come, and he found us standing on the side of the road. So I don't remember that part. That's just what's been told to me over the years. My dad ended up putting us in the Church of God Home for Children. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. It's in Malden, Simpsonville. Back in the day, now it's actually owned and operated by Social Services, but back then it was owned and operated by the Church of God Association, which I'm pretty sure they're still a part of it. But he put us there. I was 4 and my sister was 5. She just turned 5 and I was 4 and was fixing to turn 4. And that's where we were raised. So during the time when we were at the home, we were taught all the rules about behaving, and if you didn't behave, you got a whooping with a cutting board. So I think I got like 2 whippings there because I learned fast that didn't feel good. And then we were made to go to church, and when I say made, every time the doors open, we were there. So we'll go fast forward. Mom ends up having 3 more children, and 3 times I seen her when we were in the home. She would come and show us the baby that she had, and then take us back to the home. And then we got out of the home. So when I got out of the home, I was 13, my sister was 14. No, I was 12 and my sister was 13. And I went to work at Dairy Queen at the age of 12, making $3.80 an hour. Thought I knew it all. But that's the first time I ever had freedom. And my aunt and uncle actually adopted us out of the home. And so I went to work, and I would buy my school clothes and my sister's school clothes, and it was like such a treat to have jeans because, you know, I know they're kind of cool now, the culottes or the capris. Well, back then there wasn't. And if you wore those to school, everybody knew that you were a child of the Church of God home, and that was fine. So fast forward, fell in love, got married when I was 14. That was in October. Found out we were pregnant in January, and then I had my first baby. Well, I always was taught in the home that you needed to be evenly yoked, and we were not evenly yoked. And that marriage lasted for about 7 years, 2 children. That's the best thing that come out of it, was my 2 precious children. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change anything because that made me who I am. When I was pregnant, my mom reached out to me. She found out I was pregnant, and she wanted to be a part of my life. And I was super happy because I never had a mom, but then I also hated her because she left us, and I didn't have a mom. So she came, she visited, she left, she disappeared. The baby's born. I receive a letter that she wants to be part of my life. So I'm happy, yay, I'm gonna have a mom. She disappears. So fast forward a couple more years, she's back in my life, and then she leaves, and it's just a vicious cycle. It goes on and on and on. So then by the time I have my 3rd child and am remarried, and she wants to be part of my life, and I say, no, I'm not gonna put my kids through this. You can hurt me, but you're not gonna hurt my babies. And I had my number changed and didn't hear from her or anything. She called me out of the blue, got my number from my sister. One of her sisters was sick with cancer, and we were on our way to go to vacation, so I stopped by and seen my aunt, which I really didn't know any of them. My mom taught me some important lessons in life by not being there. Number one, she taught me what I didn't want to be as a mom, and she taught me that God forgives. And that was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do. I was in church one Sunday, and we had a special guest, and he was talking about being saved and how you go to bed at night and you have a clear conscience, and knowing that without a shadow of doubt you're going to go to heaven. And then he started talking about forgiveness. And he said that if you hold hatred in your heart, that how can you expect God to forgive you? And that hit me. He said, is there anyone in your life that you hate? And when he said that, my mom just popped in my head. And I truly hated her. I mean, I even asked God, like, why do you even allow her to breathe? She had 5 kids. She sold one of them, left the other 4. She never raised them, never wanted to be a part of her grandchildren's life. I mean, she's an alcoholic. Why do you even let her breathe? I mean, why? And I used to ask my husband, what's wrong with me? Why wouldn't, if you were my dad, would you want me? You know, what's wrong with me? Am I broken? What's wrong with me? Why doesn't she want me? Well, when he said that, that hit home. And by the end of the service, I was down at the altar, and I was asking forgiveness and praying to God. And it dawned on me after church that if something should have happened to me before that moment, I would have went to hell. Even though I thought in my life I was living right, I was going to church, I was paying my tithes, I had my children in church. I realized that if something should have happened to me before that moment, that I asked forgiveness for that, I would have died and went to hell. Well, I knew I had to let my mom know I forgave her. And that was the hardest thing I ever had to do. And I put it off for about a week, and God kept telling me, you gotta call her, you gotta call her. So I picked up the phone one day going home from work, because that's when I have my best conversations, because I don't have nobody bother me, but the road rage can get in there sometimes. But I called her and I said, hey, it's Rebecca Lynn. And she always calls me Lynn. And she said, little Lynn? And I said, yeah, Lynn, your daughter. And she said, hey. And I said, well, I just wanted to call you to let you know that I forgive you. And she got silent. I said, are you there? She said, yeah. I said, I wanted to let you know I forgive you. I said, because if anything should happen to me, I don't want to die and go to hell because of you. Because my hatred towards you will send me to hell. She didn't apologize. She didn't tell me why she couldn't be a mom. She only said, you know, I always wondered how you called yourself a Christian and you hated me so much. And I said, well, now I know if something should happen to me today and I die, I'm going to go to heaven. And I pray that you will. Seek God as your personal Savior, and I pray that you forgive yourself. I said, I don't know your story. I don't know what you've been. You've never told me your story. And that's fine. I just need to tell you that I forgive you. That doesn't mean I have to have a relationship with you. That doesn't mean that I have to be a part of your life. It simply means that I forgive you for hurting me and leaving me. And I did. Fast forward, she gives me a call. She wants to be part of my life. I let her. My husband and my children were like, why? And I said, well, sometimes you got to learn to love people through it. So I need to show her love. Maybe she's never been shown love. I don't know. So she comes to my house. A couple months later, she calls. She don't have anywhere to go. She knows she can't live with me because I'm not going to put up with the drinking in my house, and I'm not going to put up with the smoking or the cussing or anything like that. I forgive you, but I'm not going to put my family through that. She reaches out to my dad, who she left with the kids, and he allows her to go and live with him. And that's where she lives at right now, in Seneca, South Carolina. How to love her through, like to just love her through it, because I'm not going to get to her about the alcohol, but I can pray. I can ask others to pray. And when I go to see her, I can show her love through my actions. And hopefully one day she'll forgive herself. I really feel like that's what's holding her back, is her not wanting to forgive herself for what she put us through. So, you know, she did teach me a lot, though, because of her, I know what family is. I built my own family, my own friends, and I'm close to them, and I love people, I love life, and I'm just happy that God, He knew that my mom and dad was alcoholics, and He knew that if I had been left in their care, I have a family they're either in jail or died or living on the streets, that was brought up in that kind of situation. So I thank God daily that He loved me enough to put me and my sister in a home, and that I was able to break the chains and not have to repeat that kind of life for my children. I got 6 minutes for this now. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is better days are coming. For the past 6-7 years, I've had a lot of gastric issues. And on September the 23rd of last year, I ended up in the emergency room, and my gastrologist had already ordered a CT scan that I had left and had done that morning. I knew something was wrong, I just didn't know what. But I didn't want to miss work because, you know, that's your paycheck. And I just really liked being at work and doing a good job. And so went back to work. My daughter came and my husband came to pick me up to take me to the emergency room. Got to the emergency room. They told me that it was a small bowel blockage, obstruction, and they were going to admit me. So, okay, let's get this over with. Got up to the room, laying there. 2 days later, they finally come in. They're going to do surgery. They see something there. They're not really sure what it is. They think they can do it laparoscopically. But if not, they'll have to open me up. I wasn't really worried about it. I just figured it's a small bowel. I've had gastric problems. It's a small bowel obstruction, and, you know, let's take care of it. COVID going on, so my husband can't be there. He talked to me that morning before surgery. Went to surgery on Friday the 25th. When I got back to the room, he was there, and I seen the look on his face, but I was kind of in and out of it, you know, from surgery. And I was like, what did the doctor say? And he's like, well, they had to open you up. So I looked down, and I said, oh, they did open me up, like from here all the way down, like just a huge, no abs for me no more. I mean, I didn't have them before, but, you know, it's not a problem to work on them now because I'm not going to have them. And I said, well, what did he say? Did he get it? And he's like, yeah, he got it. They'll be in a little while to talk to us. And I said, oh, say anything else? And then he said, I fell asleep. Doctor came in and he said he believed it was cancer. And from where he could tell, it was, if it did turn out to be what he thought it was everywhere in my abdomen, in my small intestine, large intestine, pelvis, my right ovary. And he could only remove the blockage, and that was 15 inches of my small intestines. And he feels like he got clear margins on one side, but they wouldn't know until the path report come back. So it's like, okay. So of course, I'm all drugged up and I'm crying. And my husband is like, it's all right, it's gonna be okay. It may not even be cancer. I was like, okay. He's like, you wanna tell the kids? And I'm like, no, yeah, I don't know. I'm drugged up. Let's talk about it later. So he had to leave because of COVID. They have that NG2 down me. I hate that thing. Anybody else have one of those in here? It's awful. Like, I think anyone that ever messes with children or the elderly people should have to wear one of those 24/7 until the day they die, because it is miserable, and that would be some good punishment. But anyway, on Monday, another doctor comes in, and the nurse is there with me. Gerald's not there with me. She comes in, she tells me who she is. I haven't seen her. I've seen all kind of people. And she tells me that she's one of the doctors, and the path report came back. And I said, well, hold on a minute, I need to call Gerald. So I called Gerald, got him on the phone, told him. And she said, it is cancer, and it is in your lymph nodes. And I started crying. I said, okay, what does that mean? And she's like, well, there's going to be an oncologist come in later, and they're going to talk to you. So Gerald gets off the phone. He was in Sam's. I didn't know that. He was shopping when he got the news. And I told him I'd be fine. I wait until he gets there. Told him not to come in until 2 o'clock. The medical oncologist comes in with his group of people. I've seen so many people. I was like, well, I do get visitors. So they came in and told me that the prognosis was 5 years, and it was what they call neuroendocrine carcinoma, grade 1, stage 4, that I would have lots of more tests done over the next couple of weeks. They would get me on the regimen, which is a hormone-targeted chemotherapy injection once every 28 days. And he would meet me back for my appointment when I left, and he asked us if he had any questions, and I asked him some questions, and I said, so how do you determine that prognosis? And he's like, well, that's normally how long people live that are diagnosed with this, even if they get treatment. And I said, oh. I said, well, I'm going to tell you something. God is the one who determines when I go. I said, so, better days are going to come. Better days are coming, and that's how I started my Facebook page with Better Days Are Coming, and he acknowledged it. He said, that's right. He said, there's 8 of us in this room and one we cannot see, and he is the one that makes the final decision. And I said, thank you, that's right. So people come up and people go out, but I can tell you from the moment that I heard it was cancer for sure, I felt God's presence. He never left me. I cried. I didn't want to tell the kids. I had Gerald to tell everybody, in fact, because I just couldn't talk about it. Just so emotional, and being in the hospital by yourself without any visitors other than the doctors. It was really, really hard. But I felt God's presence, and he told me, it's going to be okay. Now, before I was diagnosed with cancer and given this prognosis, I was full of energy, went everywhere, didn't want to get off the clock when it was time to go home, because I needed to make sure all the residents were taken care of, which is the doctors in training. I get to work for them. And I care so much about doing a good job. But now I just really care about spending time with my family and my friends. And I do care about my job. I was blessed enough to go back to work in January. I was out of work for 3 months. I'm on the treatment now. The last scan did show some progression, but we're going to follow it with another scan. The treatment does knock me out, but this past treatment only knocked me down for 2 days, and the one in December knocked me down for 4 or 5. But just to feel God's presence and know, like, I still feel His presence all around me. Like, I know that I'm gonna be okay. And I've told my family that I'm not ready to leave them by no means. But when God decides to take me, I'm ready. Because He's blessed me. I mean, if He doesn't do anything else for me for the rest of my life, He's blessed me more than I ever deserve. And He took a little girl that comes from a broken home. They got married at 14, had a baby at 15, got a divorce at 21, I think I was 21. Got remarried when I was 28, I think I was 28, I'm pretty sure it was. No, it might have been 26, no, I had her when I was 28. I think I was 26, I'm not sure. Everything, if you just look back over my life, I can see where God put up roadblocks to keep me from going down a path. And even in the times in the valley, in the tribulation, where I didn't think there was no way I was going to survive this. When I was a single mom and my first husband cheated on me and had a baby with another woman, and I just felt like I don't want to live anymore. The only thing that kept me going was my children, and my children have saved me so, God truly blessed me with them. They have saved me so much throughout my life. But I can just see where He's like, no, I'm not answering that prayer. He always answers the prayer. It's either yes or no. And it's like, no. And I would be so frustrated. But looking back over the last 47 years, I mean, it's only God. God has blessed me. God has taken me here in this church. I was at a church for 17 years and came here 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And He's blessed me. I mean, He's put me where He wanted me to be. And I want to urge you I love to hear people's testimony and their stories, because everybody has a story. Even if you think you don't have a story, you do have a story. Everybody has a story. And I love to hear people's testimony and see how God has worked in people's lives and how He has put you on a journey. He didn't cause my cancer, but He can heal me. He can give me 50 more years if He wants to. Or He can take me tomorrow. And if He does, I'm going to be up there singing, because I don't have a good voice down here. But now up in heaven, I'm going to raise it. But, I mean, He is awesome. And I look at people, I look at my mom now, and my heart breaks for her because she doesn't know that love. And never once has she ever been on the phone with me where she didn't say, I love you. But you can say, I love you, I love you, I love you. But actions speak louder than words. And I think that she wants to love, but I don't think she knows how to love. And that's really sad. And I feel sorry for her. My heart hurts for her. My heart hurts for my sister who has this cycle that she can't break. And I've tried to help her and tried to help her. But until she gets with the Lord, that cycle's not going to be broken. And that's what saved me, was God. And all of my prayer warriors, like people from the home from years ago, praying for me, I know that they're the ones that allow that protection over me. Because if you're not saved, you just go and do what you want to do. You don't live, you live of the world. But I'm not of this world. I'm of God, and I'm God's child. And if He chooses to heal me, He will on this side. If not, He'll heal me on the other side. But regardless, I love Him. I praise Him daily. And that's all. And I'm sorry I went over. Thank you for allowing me to speak.